Hello there. Today I want to talk about the neutrals and their name once again. I'm going to revisit this subject because I think I might have made a mistake and accidentally helped spread some misinformation. So the neutral Iroquoians, or the Attawandaron, they don't really have a good name to describe them. We don't know what they called themselves. A possible endonym has emerged in the last couple of decades, become popular in the last couple of decades. This is Chonnonton. This name is usually translated as something like keepers of deer, tenders of deer. This translation is hogwash. There aren't enough syllables in that word to convey this amount of meaning. The Iroquoian languages are very syllabically inefficient. To give an example, if you wanted in Mohawk to construct a single word that said they control deer, it would be Taritskanundont Sarahnundons. So there aren't enough syllables in Chonnonton for it to mean they keep deer. So I tried to get to the bottom of this by looking at the original source of this name, which is this 1612 map by Samuel Champlain. So, noting that Chonnonton doesn't have enough syllables to meet the specified translation, I speculated maybe the equi above, equi, maybe that's not a French word, maybe that's an indigenous word, part of the name. They just put it there for space. I even went through some old dictionaries and tried to find antiquated words for deer. I found some that could correspond to equi, if you squint at them right. I concluded that the real name of this village here must have been Equi Chonnonton. They control deer. Having done a bit more research, I think I was wrong. I think I just spouted a whole load of nonsense trying to reverse engineer this translation. It's the same reason why scientists aren't supposed to work backwards from a conclusion. You can make things fit. Because the person who wrote this down didn't speak the language, he's just writing down what he heard or what he thought he heard, and there isn't a standardized orthography. Even if there was, we have no guarantee that he's using it. Someone trying to interpret these words kind of has carte blanche to mutilate the heck out of them and make them mean whatever the heck you want. So where does this translation of Chonnonton as keepers of deer come from? I've been digging through it. It seems to originate with an archaeologist called William Noble, who is sketchy as all heck, and I'm going to have to talk about him at some point. He cites his source for this name as this Champlain map that I'm looking at. He does not cite a source for his translation. I went through Champlain's writings to see if maybe he talks about it. He doesn't. The only place this word appears is on this map. I have no idea where he got this translation keepers of deer from. I have to just assume he made it up. And me, because I'm stupid and naive and trusted people, I accidentally reaffirmed his misrepresentation. I'm going to talk about his work at some point, but for now I just want to thoroughly debunk this name. So Noble put forward this name as an endonym for the neutrals. He thinks that Chonnonton is what they called themselves. Why on earth would you think this? This map is literally the only place that this name appears. We don't know what language this is written in. It's probably written in Huron, but we don't even have evidence that it's written in Huron. Champlain does not talk about this name at all. Champlain barely talks about the neutrals. Nowhere in his writing does he give any indication that he even met a neutral. This is not a neutral endonym. There's no evidence to suggest that this could be a neutral endonym. We're going to assume that this is a Huron word because Hurons are the Iroquoian people that Champlain had experience with. What does this translate as? I'm not going to try and give a good translation. I don't speak Huron. I'm not going to commit that sin again. I'm going to tell you that the beginning is a mess. You have to mutilate it to make it mean anything. What I can say is that this does not refer to a nation. It doesn't have the right kind of suffix. Nations either have the suffix rona, age, or aga at the end. That's how Iroquoian languages denote a nation. This could be a name for one specific town. I don't even buy that. This name is such a terrible piece of archaeology. The evidence supporting it as an endonym for the neutrals is so thin that we can throw doubt on every single aspect of it. Why would we assume that this name refers to the neutrals? Are we sure that that's who Champlain is talking about here? Let's take a little look at his map. Okay, boyos. So we're going to look at this map and we're going to do this recording in real time. So watch my cursor here. So this is Lake Ontario here. So Champlain's map is pretty good east of the Bay of Quinte. The Bay of Quinte, there's a lot of little detail in here that sort of matches the real relatively nicely. I'll show you the Google map here. Okay, so this is the Bay of Quinte here. This is Champlain's map of it. A little bit wonky, but this is a pretty good illustration of that area. I believe that Champlain mapped this out. Okay, this river here, we can see that it flows into a lake here, and a lake here, and it keeps going up. That's all accurate. This lake here, Rice Lake, this is probably this lake here that Champlain is represented. Okay? This is where the map stops having any relation to reality. So you see this here? This is Niagara Falls. This is Niagara Falls. This is Niagara Island. And then here is Lake Erie. This is the westernmost lake from that system on Champlain's map. Right here. Then over here. Right, that's it. So due south of that lake should be Niagara Falls. Well, no. Falls are way the heck over here. He paints the Niagara River as running east-west. It runs north-south. This river here, this can only be the Grand River. Nothing else makes sense. He draws the Grand River running east-west. This is Huron country, this is where the Hurons lived back in the day. It's Lake Simcoe, that's what it's called, Lake Simcoe. This doesn't appear at all on Champlain's map. There's no Lake Simcoe on Champlain's map. He doesn't know where the Hurons live. Now, Champlain interacted with the Hurons. He interacted with the Hurons quite early in. He doesn't know where they live yet. He doesn't depict the Hurons anywhere on this map. He doesn't know where they live. Champlain has not explored this whole area here. He's just going by hearsay. Yeah, I heard that there's a waterfall somewhere, so I'm just going to draw a waterfall somewhere random. And then there's 2 islands on the river. And then eventually that leads into a lake. And then somewhere on that lake there's a Grand River that goes deep up into the country. This whole section of the map is so terrible as to be useless. Like, he compresses basically all of southwestern Ontario. There's nothing useful we can extract from this. Trying to use this as a reference point for any people at all is just folly, because Champlain hasn't been here. I don't even know how to debunk this map. It's just, this whole western half of it is just useless. It's just bloody, utterly, completely bloody, stinking bloody useless. So briefly jumping in here to clarify my unscripted rambling, what I mean to say is that because southwestern Ontario is so compressed on Champlain's map, we don't know who the heck he's referring to at any given time. The village in question here, it could refer to literally anybody in the southwestern Ontario area. Bloody heck. So the question is, who does Champlain think lives here? I don't think that he thinks the neutrals live here. I don't think he thinks that. And I've got a piece of evidence for this. This is Champlain's later map. The first map is from 1612. This map is from 20 years later. This time Champlain has actually explored a lot more of Western Ontario. He's been to Huron country. He spent like a year living among them. So here's Lake Ontario. He's got Huron country in this time. And down here he's got Piton country. Right here, Niagara Falls, Niagara Island, La Nation Neutre. He's got the neutrals on the other side of the falls. So whoever the heck lived at this Chonnonton village, they were not the neutrals. Or at least Champlain did not believe that they were the neutrals. I see no reason why we should use this name for the neutrals. Champlain clearly didn't intend it for them. Ugh. To be perfectly honest, I'm kind of leaning in the direction that this might just be Champlain's really paltry attempt at writing down the name for the Piton, which is like Deonunda de Rono. I think this might just be somebody who's got a really bad ear for indigenous languages writing that down. I have no idea, really. Bloody heck. I'm going to present one theory for the potential translation of this. I'm only going to present it because I think it might be the same sort of speculation that Noble was working from. This might be a severe bastardization of the Wendat word Oscanundo, which means deer. It's written so badly because Champlain did not speak the language and should not be taken as any kind of authority or reference regarding the language. He didn't know how to hear it, he didn't know how to write it. I think Noble must have asked some Mohawk speaker or whatever, what does this word look like? Oh, it kind of looks like Oscanundo, which means deer, and then Noble just runs with that. Oh yeah, it's the deer village. It must mean like they keep deer. And then he goes to massive logical leaps. Just bloody heck. Now, to my mind, I think the village on this map might be an attempt at representing a Piton village. The Piton were recorded as falling into 2 tribes, whatever the heck they mean by that, the wolf tribe and the deer tribe. So maybe this is the deer tribe of the Piton. And what about Eque? That's not a French word, is it? Well, maybe Champlain was just really bad at spelling. Maybe he was just as bad at spelling French as he was at spelling Huron. I don't know. In conclusion, The evidence does not support the use of Chonnonton for anything, much less for use as the neutral endonym. Well, heck, I'm not going to waffle. I'm going to go one step further. Heck in it. Chonnonton is not a neutral endonym. It might be a Wendat word. It might possibly be a Wendat word to refer to one specific neutral village. It is not a neutral endonym. If you want to refer to the neutrals, you're stuck with neutrals or Attawandaron. Heck in it. I'm going to talk about this later when I have time to write up a script. I just got to get this clarification out there. Thank you for listening. Heck.